Welcome to October Tinley 2025. It's another year of incredible reptiles that I'm going to show you all. So let's get in there and enjoy the weekend.
You're my hero, Mike.
The NARBC Tinley Park is where you will find us every October. Being one of the largest reptile expos in North America, there are so many reptiles that can only be seen on display here. If you've seen my Tinley Expo videos in the past, you already know, but one of my sole goals is to show off as many of the rarer reptiles as I possibly can. The ones that most content creators and other YouTube videos might not share. That being said, for next year's Expo, I'm considering doing the same type of video and a POV walkthrough tour of the entire show, showing every table, all the details, etc. That would be a very long video, but let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in the comments down below. With that being said, let's start the tour at one of my good friends, Josh, at the Exotic Empire. That's not a blue-tongued skink.
It is not a blue-tongued skink. So
what is it?
Same genus as the blue-tongue, but this is an eastern shingleback skink. This is an Australian species. Their common name is the sleepy lizard or the eastern shingleback. A really cool animal. She came from a zoo in Louisiana here in the States. She's a 5-year-old female named Cheddar, but she's great, man. We absolutely love her, and she's out here at the Tinley Park show for everybody to enjoy and see and get pictures of. So that is Macropistodon rudis, or the false Habu mock viper. So that is a species from Southeast Asia that is a absolute awesome mock viper, and so they mimic a viper, which is a venomous snake from Southeast Asia, but they are actually completely harmless. They're not rear-fanged at all. They're primarily a frog and lizard eater, and really, really neat, something you almost never see here. It's actually the only ones I've ever seen.
Wicked. Is there anything else you want to share?
Yeah, let's do the Ptyas. Ptyas major, and they're another Asian colubrid species. Ironically, they're not a very large Ptyas species. Max size on those is around 5 or 6 feet. Variation in that species is cool. Some of them will be born with the stripes on their back like that one had. Others of them are completely green, and as they age, they'll keep that really green color. Very cool species. The most interesting thing about them is they're primarily a worm eater. They just go around and look under logs and everything and just scoop up worms, and they'll actually eat crickets as well. I actually have those feeding on half-inch crickets along with earthworms. So really, really neat. Definitely not the typical diet for a reptile or for a snake, but super cool, and just another one of the favorites we have here for the show.
Now that we've heard a little bit from Josh, let's check out what's on his table.
My name is Warren Klein. I'm from Bushveld Reptiles. I'm originally from South Africa, same place where house snakes actually come from. We specialize in captive bred Boedon capensis, which is the Cape house snake. And it's also the house snake that has the most variety in different mutations. And we have brought a variety of the different house snakes that we work with and have bred to show you today. They'll start off eating pinky mice. They will max out at eating an adult mouse. They are tiny, harmless, constricting snakes that fit the size and description of a colubrid, but have the looks of a python, actually, genetically more closely related to leopards. So they've got a lot of very interesting characteristics. Just to give you some basics of what a Cape house snake looks like. Now this animal's got some heads, but for all intents and purposes, it's what a wild type looks like. So you see the little head, it looks very angular, very much like a little python, almost Burmese python-like. They've got these creamy white stripes that run from the snout above the eye and to the back of the head. That's very characteristic of the house snake. And then polygenetically, they've got a range of different spots and stripes and blotches, and typically that there'll be different shades of brown, even into shades of red in their natural occurring color forms. Let's show you an example of a standard T negative albino. So you see the beautiful coloration of the albino, and then if you look at the eyes, these guys actually have gold eyes, but when you look at the pupils, unfortunately they dilate in the light, but the pupils are actually red. Another line of albino, this is the T positive albino or caramel albino. Now you see they've got the same golden eyes, but they've actually got dark pupils. It's very hard to see when the eyes dilate underneath the light, but this one's got dark pupils, this one's got light pupils. So now we've looked at the two original lines of albino. So at Bushveld Reptiles, we've actually developed our own, or we've introduced our own line of albino that we got the first wild caught specimen that we actually bred originally in South Africa. Now this line, we believe, is the true aminelistic albino. So the previous two you saw both had golden eyes and either red or a dark pupil. This specimen here has actually got the whole eyeball is orange. So this is the most extreme form of albinism that we've seen in house snakes, and it's not compatible with the other two lines either. So we also have very interesting polygenetic traits that come from locality type. One that we're also well known for that we really like to work with is the KZN Red, which actually stands for KwaZulu-Natal. This is a region in South Africa where actually the soils and the rocks have a red tone to them, and the resulting house snakes are also very red. So you saw the previous brown one I showed you, look how nice this one's color is. So these we actually use them to breed, I mean we breed them just for the nice red specimens, and we also breed them into the different lines of albino. So this right here is actually the closest thing we have to a leucistic house snake. Okay. Oh, cheeky one. This one has got beautiful, it's also, we call it the blue-eyed house snake, and it's got beautiful blue eyes and this lovely lavender or mauve coloration throughout its body. So these are a really stunning mutation. Of course, all the mutations we have in house snakes thus far are recessive. So this is also recessive, and unlike other leucistics and other snakes mutations, the het forms look pretty much normal. This is another example of a polygenetic trait that we're working with. We call these racerbacks. Now these come from a specific locality in South Africa, where the snakes are known to, the house snakes are known to get really large, and they have these distinctive dorsal striping, hence the racerback. And this is it's a polygenetic trait, but it's very inheritable. In the 50%ers, breed these into albinos, that stripe really transfers. The Bushveld albino and the KZN red. So this animal is a Bushveld albino, but it has 50% KZN red blood. So just making it an overall stunning example of an albino. Of course, being Bushveld, being that true aminelistic, they've got the orange pupils and irises and that lovely KZN red influence in the body.
Mr. Garrett, how's it going?
Pretty good, Mr. Mike. How you doing?
Very good, very good.
We sold some very impressive, very expensive ones, like immediately, but that's what happened. That's why you get the VIP tickets on Friday. You go get the good stuff first, right? Some of this stuff's getting pretty exciting though. Check this one out. I'm a sucker for selective breeding, obviously. So it's never really like, how many morphs can you put in there? Even though a lot of times that's the stuff that makes money, because that's what kind of everybody can see from a mile high. I really like minor little tweaks and changes on a basic theme. I want to make them small first, and then it's like, can I make the pattern cooler? Can I make the color cooler? And how do you do that? We have all the morphs and retics to work with, but I also have these 7 other locality weapons, and it's been fun to push them really far, like one morph really far into one locality. But stuff like this is really fun. Look at these percentages. 62.5% Kalatoa, 25%, who even knows, like old school Superdors, and 6.25% Slayer. But I'll tell you what, look at the snake. This one's dad already is an adult, many times proven breeder, and he's 6 feet long. Look at the rich yellows and golds with little blue spots kind of puncturing through the pattern. All that extra gold is coming from Slayer. This is a Tombalongan, but they're related to Slayers. You can see how they rich yellow base in there. So I mean, this is the product of like mad scientist work. I don't know, it's just super rewarding, I get reminded of that all the time, but especially when we come to these reptile shows and you get to see everybody's faces discovering what you've made. Whether or not they're buying snakes, you just feel so proud about it, You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You share that like insane level of passion.
Hey guys, I'm Lou. Nice to meet you all.
Right on. And what did you pick up?
Best reptile channel in the world. Picked up some Geomitis spangleri.
To be clear, I didn't pay him to say that.
The coolest thing at the show.
Yeah. In my
right
opinion.
here. Let's see if he comes out. Let's see if he comes out.
There we go. Very cool. That's exciting. You must be stoked.
Yes, sir. Super, super cool, man. Super, super cool.
Thank you very much, Lou. We'll see you around.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
it's Nick from Unlimited Exotic. This is my booth that I built. I breed a lot of monitors and stuff like that. We take pride in the quality of our animals, so I really wanted to show that, and I thought this was the best way to do so. So in this top enclosure, we have black dragons. I had like 27 babies in that clutch. I have a Rarest Reptiles. Those are actually Uncle Mike's. Just putting them up there for him. And then in that top enclosure, we have a Rarest Yuani, which is a very rare monitor. Probably only like 5 to 10 in the United States. Wow. They've never been captive bred before, so we're trying to do that. The display itself, it took me about 3 months to build. It was very, very hard to inlay all the lights and all that stuff, and it's very heavy, so it's very hard to get in and out of the show. Probably weighs, if I had to guess, probably like 600-700 pounds.
What's up, guys? My name's Jeff. I'm hanging out at the expo today. I made probably more purchases than I should have. Here we've got yellowtail cribbo. Got some African house snakes today that I'm hoping to pair up as a project in the future. We also got with us today Starry Night reed frogs from Josh's Frogs. These guys are froglets right now, so they're gonna go in a grow out. Then these are northern spiny-tailed geckos, Stropharis ciliaris. So these are ones that I've been looking for a while, and I managed to find a captive bred pair. These are a really unique looking gecko that I'm excited to be working with.
Mark with Vision here. We're showing off the new Visionarium. See a couple examples here. These are going to be a new product from us coming out hopefully the end of the year. It is modeled off our V35 and V70 tub. You'll have options for doors on one side or up to all 4 sides on each of the tubs. If you come over here, you'll see a couple different examples as well. We got vents on the front and the back. You'll have, again, options for the doors on any side. You will have options for windows as well if you just want that instead of the doors. We'll have perforated options and glass options. Get over here again, this was the V35. This is gonna be the V70, so you get a little bit bigger option. And we have a bearded dragon set up here and a pixie frog in this one. Show a little bit of versatility of using it for a desert species versus tropical. A little more information on it too is we have lids that are built in as well. These are gonna have options for your lighting. These are gonna be a halogen light or an LED light, and they will snap into the lid. So I'll show you right here. Vented across the back or the front, depending on how you orientate the lid. The venting can be removed if you'd like to use something else besides the vents that we include in this. Options will be available for misters, temperature probes, and fans.
I'm Steven. I just picked up a bunch of stuff at Tinley. Just a few small things, to be honest. The coolest thing that I picked up is definitely the mock vipers from Ashley. So glad that they were coming down here. First CBB babies that I've seen in the States for them. Little lizard eaters. They look pretty cool. They have a lot of different colors and pattern variability. I also picked up some dwarf geckos in the Stenolodactylus genus. I got 2 different species of them.
And the final pickups are
Feeders.
We're with Jeff at JMG.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing well, Mike, and I'm showing you the newer mutation. It's been out for a bit, but not in collection. Not really that available until more recently. This is the cinnamon gene. There's definitely some speculation and interest in like how it works because it's a very peculiar trait. It's been popping up in some collections. I actually had it pop up in 2 different spots in my own collection, and I also bought one from the UK. Big characteristics here I talk about is kind of like the diffused pattern. You got the head stamp and pigmentation is kind of turned into a solid, just kind of like solid pigment on the actual head. You don't really see like the defined pattern like you'd see on a typical Nasigus. And then you got this dividing line at the back of the head, and at the nape of the neck you have this solid pattern. And then if you look at the side of the snake, you can see there's like more iridophores. You can see that's like a lot of like oranges and nice tones in there. And it's a little iridescent. And the belly is like ultra, like, you know, a little more black. It's kind of hard to see. Over camera might be hard to tell, but it's pretty dang black. It's more black than you typically see on like, even a super condor or jet black hognose's belly. So this mutation is promoting the expression of more iridophores, melanophores, and other pigment cells, and it's diffusing the pattern. And it seems to be behaving in like a dominant fashion, but most of the cinnamons I've been producing are male. But then I'm also able to get sometimes a decent amount of females. And it's the same male I'm using for different pairings. And some females I pair them with, it seems like I'm getting a high proportion of males. And then in some cases, I'm getting females, or a decent amount of them. And one thing I've noticed is the females are a lower expression than the males. So it seems like there's some sex linkage going on. This is a female, and so she's got a lower expression, but And she actually looks pretty nice. It's a super Arctic albino cinnamon, and you can see her blotches are more like purpley blue. She's got that iconic band at the nape of the neck, but she doesn't have as much like high like siding like the other cinnamons do, where they have like the high pigment concentration. And so she's an example of like how the cinnamon females are sometimes not expressed as much, but you can see she's still very nice, and it changes her actual pigment. She doesn't look like a regular super Arctic albino at all.
Not at all.
And then we have an albino cinnamon male here that is kind of macaroni colored. So he kind of looks like mac and cheese. He's got this big band on the nape of the neck. His pattern's diffused. His sides are pretty cool, kind of gnarly if you can see that. So this guy's just like kind of your standard albino, which is kind of interesting looking because you don't really ever see albino hognose that look like straight up mac and cheese.
No, you don't.
So this is the mac and cheese morph here.
Hi everyone, I am JP. I am here right now to show you this guy. This is an Australian helmeted gecko. Super simple to keep. I mean, they're just hard to find. Not a lot of people are working with them, but they are beautiful. Look at how it's moving the tail. It's getting a little bit scared, so I'm not gonna move it too much, but that is a defensive mechanism. So just in case somebody was, something was to attack them, it would drop the tail would continue wagging.
And that is a wrap on Tinley 2025. I want to thank Noah for hosting our stuff. If you guys like the video, make sure you leave a like down below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, leave them in the comments, and we will see you in the next video. Later. Bye.